The story of the Star Wars kid. How about we do that? We have YouTube nostalgia for this.
In 20...
So if we shall prepare ourselves for some hell on Earth. Charles Mao, this is a video on a patron of your people, the Star Wars kid. You filthy fucking frog. And thus, since you are the one commenting the most in chat, you are doing the honor, the dubious honor, to inform us about Quebec's famous viral star. More popular than XQC, mind you. More notable than him and Nuxtaku. Quebec's rising star of the internet. The Star Wars kid.
2024, we see a lot of people doing very stupid things for internet fame.
So in 2024, this video was released, and it's only gotten worse. And I still think the funniest thing is about the internet, and this has been going on for over a decade now, and it mainly happened from the ratchet realm of the internet. If you know the Filthy Frank video about people of the internet, you know about the ratchet realm. And for some reason, the socioeconomically challenged, for some reason, love to post their crimes online and paraphernalia online and post where they are up the op block online, thus getting arrested or thus getting robbed or shot. Charlotte, you're saying who this person is? How dare you? You don't know who the Star Wars kid is? Well, you'll see.
Can't relate.
That wasn't really a dumb thing. That's a skit.
But doing, obviously, fake pranks, backstab...
You just live in an Orwellian government. Unfortunately, the rest of the world's going to go in that way, too, because freedom of speech and freedom of expression is the truest danger to any form of government society. You mock them, and they will try to rip you apart.
I've been long-time friends for a few clicks, and doing atrocious acts for the slight chance of being famous is an everyday occurrence these days.
True.
But this story didn't happen this year, or even this decade, for that matter. No, this story happened a long, long time ago in a decade far, far away.
God, I miss the 2000s.
Long before internet clout or even memes were even really a thing.
Memes were around at that time, not even in the classic meme format that people would know of. They were called image macros back when. The coin meme was from Richard Dawkins, come Bowie, into a mimetic gene of constant repetitive. So basically, it's a repetitive gene that will spread itself through rapid growth and through contact. Remember how the gene is? Now Bowie, of course, quotes that, but Bowie shortened it down to meme. And because of that, we got the coin phrase meme, which held on internet zeitgeist for a long time. And the funny thing is, a lot of the internet terminology we use originates from comedy and originates from offshoot interviews that some nerds just thought was cool. As we all know with spam comes from, while it is the food spam, the reason why we call it spam is because of spam from Monty Python. Because you say spam enough times, it just spam, repeats, becomes a annoyance. And to call this basically sending in swaths of repetitive messages as an annoyance and nuisance got itself the joke of the Vikings that would just start singing about spam if you said spam enough times.
Story about high school, lightsabers, and the patient zero of viral internet videos.
And I was a Star Wars geek as a kid. And I do mean a Star Wars geek. My era of Star Wars was when Lucasfilm still owned Star Wars. So, before Disney's acquisition. So I grew up with Clone Wars, both the Tarkovsky and the, not Filoni, what's his face? But the Clone Wars TV series and the Old Republic. I was more interested in the expanded universe of the prequels than I was of the original trilogy, because the prequels, I especially the Clone Army is one of my favorite things. But even the Old Republic had a lot of going for it. I much prefer the more combat, ground focus heavy combat, as opposed to the space wizardry of the Jedi and Sith. I prefer on ground combat and merchant runners and proxy war that Star Wars would build stuff to. That's why I also got later into the post original trilogy. Post original trilogy, the expanded universe of that with the comic books, fuck, they're incredible. They're amazing. Look into those. They tried to completely decanonize everything from Disney Star Wars, and that completely, as we know, Star Wars sunk now. But in hindsight, go look at the comics for the original expanded universe post original trilogy.
Ghislaine Raza, better known as the Star Wars Kid.
Here we go. Charlemagne, if you're still here, this is who he is. That video of the fat kid twirling around with the staff, the Star Wars kid.
Our tale begins on January the 2nd, 1988, where a star was born in the quaint little town of Trois-Rivières in Quebec.
Well, Char, what are your thoughts on Trois-Rivières? What are your thoughts on that town, Charlemagne? Speak and forever hold your peace. We await your answer. Never been there. Okay.
What a shame.
Yeah. Worst place to be born in. French Canadian.
With the values of hard work and education. And from a young age, he had...
This was... Okay, if you don't know where Trois-Rivières is, it's not near Montreal nor Quebec City. Trois-Rivières is central to northern Quebec. I believe it's western Quebec. My geography is not always the sharpest when it comes to Quebec because that province is an anomaly to me. But Trois-Rivières is, from whatever I can recall, is more of a middling in terms of political, better Canadian town. So they're split. They're very much a working class town in the city. Kind of split down the middle politically wise. I can't say for sure, but they don't hold enough sway as compared to Montreal, Quebec City to swing the provincial outcomes into their favor, should they vote for a more conservative party, as far as I'm aware of.
A vivid imagination and a deep love for all things a typical 15-year-old nerd would enjoy.
Of course.
Especially Star Wars.
Yeah.
Average nerdy kid, he spent his days dreaming of galaxies far, far away.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Ghislaine was attending École Secondaire St. Joseph School. There's going to be a lot of French words in this video that I'm not going to pronounce correctly because...
Even worse, it's Quebecois. It's not Parisian French. It is Quebecois. So it's a lot more guttural. It's only a step above Haitian French, but it's a leg below Cajun.
I don't care enough. But anyway, he was a bright student, though he wasn't exactly the most popular kid in school.
Yeah.
Spent his free time reading, watching sci-fi movies, and practicing his Jedi moves in the mirror.
I was equally as introverted as this kid. I could feel this pain, except I wasn't fat. That's my only thing here. I was very introverted. This kid, unfortunately, was a portly young gentleman.
His friends were few but loyal, and he was generally well liked by those who took the time to get to know him.
Yeah.
And they all supported and helped each other get over the fact that they were all French Canadian.
I fucking hate Quebec. Cut this guy a fucking puppers.
Fast forward to...
I wish Larry Kennedy didn't go down the shitter in the later seasons because they started getting weirdly political depending on the election cycle. I think it was during Trump's first term. Larry Kennedy took a massive downswing because they wanted to be political and hop on the trend of, oh, guys, we're Canadians, we're actually better than the Americans, we can beat up our far right so-called Nazis, aka Fetty Boys because of the Tiki March. The Fetty Boys during the Tiki March, which one's getting glow up and that fucking thing. What I'm getting at here is that before then, Larry Kennedy was really good. People, I mean, I don't know how many fucking Americans I know talk about Letterkenny, and it's about a small town in northern Ontario. Like, Letterkenny is this generation's Kids in the Hall. Because in America, Kids in the Hall was broadcasted across the nation from the same station that SNL, because SNL's who was the owner of SNL? The original founder of it. It was all of his friends and some of the original, like, second generation staff of SNL that made Kids in the Hall, the comedy group, and that became a more popular in the States than it did in Canada. Though everything was based and jokes were based on Canada, for a lot of parts. Letterkenny kind of became that, where it became especially popular down south. Because it's both a glimpse of comedy of Canada, but also life of Canada. And it's kind of equally an anomaly to see as far, people were referencing about Kids in the Hall, even down in Florida. And in fact, there was actually a competition that the Kids in the Hall had, and they visited the winner, who was a Floridian woman who was just watching it. So you'd be surprised how far reach some of these shows can get. The thing is, though, is once again, going back to Letterkenny, it really started to fall off. And it's also very overquoted and kind of overstates welcome towards the later seasons. I still find a lot of the earlier seasons hilarious. I mean, everyone does. I know what it's like being in a town like Letterkenny. I grew up in a town similar to Letterkenny. That's not uncommon. That is not uncommon. You go on the boonies, you will meet Wayne and you will meet Squirrely Dan out there. Like, it is not this is a eccentric town. This is a literal hodgepodge of what most rural Canadian towns are like. When it comes to the earlier seasons.
November the 4th, 2002, and our boy Guy Lane is feeling the force.
Oh, sorry, when I say Canadian towns, I mean Ontario towns, like Ontarian. Like, that's what I mean.
Strong within him today. He finds himself alone in the school audio-video room, armed with nothing but a golf ball retriever and his boundless imagination.
Oh, boy.
He decides to record himself in a mock lightsaber duel.
There's nothing wrong with doing choreography.
The scene is set, a dimly lit storage room filled with AV equipment, and in the middle, our young hero, ready to unleash his inner Jedi. Guy Lane goes absolutely ham, swinging that golf ball retriever around, mimicking the epic duels that he fell in love with as a child.
What year was this?
Moves clumsy.
This was post Phantom Menace, I believe, when he recorded this. So, for as many faults Phantom Menace had, and I know prequels got their hype as the sequels came out, and basically people looked back on the prequels with more of a loving gaze, and actually kind of realized that Mike Sikola kind of went a little too far in some places in terms of criticism. They're not great movies by any stretch of the imagination. George did fumble quite a bit, especially with the Phantom Menace. He fumbled quite a bit with Phantom Menace. And parts of Attack of the Clones was a bit of a slog to sit through. Things that could have been cut out, but when the high points came about, they were high points. Maul didn't need to speak. He'd hardly need to say anything. But just that sheer dread of him revealing himself was, oh, this is going to be a good fight. One of my coworkers I used to work with at my part-time job in high school, and he was working a part-time job there to help, basically have something that was flexible for his university schooling, because he had a family to take care of. And we talked, because apparently he was actually an usher at one of our movie theaters, during the 2000s. So he remembers when Harry Potter was being released. He remembers when a bunch of things were released. And he said, I was an usher for Attack of the Clones, for the theater for Attack of the Clones. So you saw people coming in cosplay, you saw people getting themselves ready, and he said, it was on an opening night. And the theaters, there was some cheering throughout the movie. Of course, as people got bored, they still stuck through. But he said, I've never heard a crowd so loud when Yoda dropped his cane and shot up the lightsaber. Because Attack of the Clones has some really, really high points after all the low points. Jango fight, great. Clone Factory, great. The Jack's Diner, okay, that was like a decent little exposition piece. But the main point that everyone remembers, of course, is the arena battle with the first clone strike on Geonosis and Dooku versus Yoda. And but going back to this kid here, yeah, no, like for all the problems in the acting thing and the slog that was the prequels. Fuck, the lightsaber fights are so good. They are so good. They even made me reconsider. Do I really like being a mercenary idealist in the Star Wars world, or do I want to have like a lightsaber? Because fuck, this is so cool.
His stance, awkward. His
Yeah.
technique, amateur. But his enthusiasm, impeccable.
Absolutely.
He spins, thrusts, and parries like he's...
And also, if I used to do not Jeet Kune Do. Is it Bushido? No, it's not Bushido. Shit, I can't remember its name now. The way the Okinawans train with martial arts or weapon martial arts. Kabuto. I've done some Kabuto training in my time. I'm very amateurist. I didn't do it terribly long because I've had a pretty busy life. But I have a bow. And I'm gonna say bow, it's not, or you just call it staff, because it's practically the same word, translated from Japanese. I have a staff, 6-foot staff, made of solid oak wood. And I can tell you this much, you are clumsy when you start handling it. No matter how tall or big I am forever clumsy with this fucking staff. I prefer shorter staffs. I prefer the half staff. I'm very clumsy when it comes to large full staffs, because it is a lot, and when you crack yourself across the head with a wood staff by accident, you're gonna go down. It's gonna hurt like hell. So I don't blame him for this first outing. Considering he's not even doing it. He has no training whatsoever. It's just him with enthusiasm. But you know what? Dude rocks.
Battling Darth Maul himself. Thinking nothing...
And I'm gonna probably preface all this. I know about the story of the Star Wars kid. It's just, this is Daniel's coverage of it. I want to hear if there's things I just didn't know about it. In terms of making an ass of yourself, in comparison to how the modern day is, I mean, this kid has more form, has more skill, has more dedication to his video than any other of those TikTok cringe videos where we see, but those ones who do those TikTok cringe videos are far more embarrassing to watch. You feel more of a shame of more, not in pity, like a disgust at those same people, because they themselves make so much of an ass themselves with extra hubris. And it's their phenotype, it's their hubris, it's their lack of it's not even like a video that's only meant to be shot for themselves. It was meant to broadcast who they are or what they really think about the world online. And then this is the peak of the pinnacle of their video career. And it's them just being so blatant about it, and everything goes in to handle one thing to make those far more worse than what this kid got harangued for. And this kid never meant to show this video anywhere. As far as I'm aware, he was meant to only have this for himself, to show his own choreography skills. Look at the past, I guess. I'm gonna be real. There's nothing embarrassing about this. No one's perfect in the first outing. Just didn't help he was chubby.
Of this masterpiece that he had just created that was actually taped over a portion of a basketball game, he
no shit
left the tape in the basement in the AV room.
Why would you do that? No, that's his fault.
Never imagine
you'd never ever do that. No,
that this private moment of joy would ever be discovered, let alone become one of the biggest memes of all time. In April of 2003, just 5 months after the video's creation, a few of Gillian's classmates were messing around in the AV room and they stumbled across the tape.
Oh god.
They see their quiet, nerdy classmate flailing around with a golf ball retriever and of course they think it's comedy gold. So naturally, they shared it around the school. And as it passes around, it ends up in the hands of a student named Corey, who converted the VHS into a video file.
Oh boy.
jackass_Star Wars_funny.wmv. And then it got uploaded to Kazaa, the peer-to-peer file sharing network that was the...
Oh fuck, that's old. That was even before my time. I only heard about it through the grapevine towards when I started getting online. Shit.
the file transfer Wild West of the early 2000s.
Yep.
The video would get thousands of downloads until a blogger by the name of Andy Bio, who you may have heard of because he eventually became the CTO of Kickstarter, stumbled upon the video and uploaded it to his website. And he was credited with naming the video Star Wars Kid. The video then spread like wildfire and the internet literally lost its mind. The video is viewed millions of times, and within only 2 weeks, Ghislaine was on the cover of the New York Times, making
Excuse me?
Ghislaine one of the first ever true viral sensations.
True. And the unfortunate thing is, this wasn't the early age of YouTube where if you made New York Times cover or like a news publication cover, is because you were a viral million subscriber channel on YouTube. That's when a million subscribers was like a lot. I do mean like a fucking lot. It's still a lot today, but when a million subscribers was like a threshold in 2009, 2010 YouTube, 2008 YouTube as well. Going back as far as 2008, that was publication worthy. This kid, unfortunately, though, what I'm saying is they would put those people on there as a show of, oh, is this funny, weird internet? It's weird how the internet's kind of like this, but he's also confident now he's kind of making some money off it. He's kind of making a little bit of a film career out of it. Because I thought these kids would go to Hollywood or something like that afterwards, which, fortunately, some of them did, and for kids like Bieber, that did not end up too well. But when it came to him, this was still, and I do miss the era as much as I do. There was some qualms I have, and this was the shock jock era of the 2000s, and where major publications were hopping on the shock jock trend. And this kid made it onto the New York Times cover. And while being a funny haha guffaw joke, razzing him that way would have been too much for any teenager to handle. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna go completely sympathetic and bleeding heart son here, but very few people can take this level of humility and turn it into something they can work with. I've been in very humiliating situations, and I know how to turn it after experiencing how many times over. I know how to turn it into a laughing matter that I can benefit off of. But when this kid's as introverted as he is, and apparently he's lived a quiet, he gratefully, for the time being, had a very quiet life, but that also leads to the unfortunate thing is he's never gotten able to experience what it was like with full humility being put on his back. Kid, he's not gonna be ready for what comes next.
Creative internet users then added lightsaber effects, Star Wars music, and even sound effects.
It actually makes it a lot more cooler. I know people make it a laughing joke because he's stumbling around. The fucking deflections actually make this shit cooler.
Parody that people just found.
Like, the second most viral Star Wars, like, homemade video I can think of, that was made for, like, this type of comedy with lightsabers, was the if she breathes, she's a thought. And that was completely made an irony prior to the Force Awakens being released. This shit would have gone, like, viral in a good way, in a beneficial way in the 2010s. Oh, this kid was it the right place, wrong time.
Even funnier. Ghislaine, now the Star Wars kid, becomes a household name. And this is all years before YouTube even existed.
Yep.
I think the first time that I saw the Star Wars kid video was on Kill Sometime. Jesus Christ, remember
God
Kill Sometime?
Damn.
But while the internet was having a good laugh, Ghislaine's life was turning into a nightmare. His classmates, not content with just sharing the video online, started actually bullying him relentlessly at school.
No.
They taunt him, they call him names, and they mimic his lightsaber moves and make lightsaber noises at him as they walk past him in the hall.
Kid, it's at that moment you have to own up to it and play into the bit. Unfortunately, that's very hard because it's only hindsight's 2020.
Just to humiliate him. The video that brought so much joy to strangers all around the world had become a source of immense pain for Ghislaine. As he himself stated, what I saw was mean. It was violent. People were telling me to commit suicide.
Oh,
the bullying gets so bad that Ghislaine has to leave school. He started homeschooling to escape the relentless harassment. The stress and anxiety start taking a toll on his mental health, leaving him isolated and depressed. Even Bio, who was the one that really made the video spread around and garnered him 2.3 terabytes of traffic, started defending Ghislaine by turning new comments off and deleting some of the really bad ones. On top of going out of his way to actually track down Ghislaine to hear his side of the story. And he had his French-speaking friend interview Ghislaine. In the interview,
that is why I think teachers should be allowed to ask beat students if they bully another student like that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But they never do they? Teachers want to be popular. They want to be cool with the kids. So they'll let shit slide that they shouldn't let slide. But the moment the kid fights back, that's the end of the world.
Ghislaine mentioned that he was thinking of getting an iPod soon. And Bio, feeling responsible for all of the online hate and actually taking quite a liking to Ghislaine, opened up donations to buy him the iPod that he mentioned. And after 421 donations that totaled over $4,000, Ghislaine got his 30 gigabyte iPod. He also got 18 $200 gift cards and a note thanking him for the countless hours of entertainment that you've given us and the hardships you've had to face. Bio left himself a little over $7 to treat himself to a couple of pints of cold beer for a job well done. Even though Ghislaine never responded or took a photo with the iPod as was requested of him. Ghislaine said years later in a 2013 interview, "I know that the people who sent me the gifts had good intentions, but they were only drops in the ocean of the contempt that I faced."
Dude, I know. Because, like, unfortunately, they were completely disconnected of what he's actually going through. They wouldn't have known. Oh, God. It was good intention on their end. I thought, okay, this was why. They probably thought the kid uploaded it himself. No. Oh, God.
Now, I hear all of you Zoomers all screeching about how you would ride that video fame train straight to internet stardom.
A different era.
You would make an idiot out of yourself for the world to see for free. But keep in mind that the year was 2002.
Yeah.
Smartphones weren't even a thing, and the third Lord of the Rings movie only just came out that year. E-celebdom also wasn't a thing. Basically, when it comes to the internet back then, things were culturally very, very different.
Absolutely.
Society had a very different approach and view to internet popularity. Also, Ghislaine never even wanted this video to be public in the first place.
Exactly.
Soon after Bio's interview, the New York Times ran a piece on the video, featuring a brief email from Ghislaine describing how it was just not a fun experience for him.
No,
Unfortunately,
never is.
Being featured in the New York Times only escalated his ordeal by triggering the Streisand effect, attracting even more attention and exacerbating the challenges for him and his family, as they withdrew from public life and sought legal counsel. Due to the daily bullying, Ghislaine stopped attending class and the lawyers arranged for him to go to another school. But to his dismay, the new school was associated with a hospital's psychiatric unit. So rumours quickly spread that Ghislaine was being sent to a mental ward, providing even more fodder for even more online ridicule and mockery.
God damn it, this is terrible.
Ghislaine's family sued the families of 4 of his schoolmates who had all...
If I can recall what really goes, okay, cyberbullying isn't, I hate to be this type of guy, but cyberbullying typically is not real. Concept of it is not really real. You make an ass of yourself on the internet, it stays on the internet, you fucking make an ass of yourself. Okay, people are gonna make fun of you. Just, as Tyler the Creator said, just close the fucking laptop. I think when it comes to in real life problems, we see where the shit then can be warped into something else. It's kind of like that understandable line you do not cross that some people, including kids, are not going to realize they shouldn't cross. I think what really was the crux, or the ultimate crux, that really made people realize that line fucking exists for a reason, as more and more normies got on the internet who would have bullied Ghislaine in the past, was was her name Amanda? I can't remember her last name, but she was the teenage girl. I don't anything no older than 13 or 12, who got blackmailed into flashing herself. She was a like a YouTube niche musician, like one of those, kind of like Justin Bieber, where she'd put music online. I don't remember her name because her story was Amanda's story was that video she did before her suicide. And she was the one that got blackmailed by that group of, I forget, I don't know what they are, the Cappers or some shit like that, but a sick fuck out in Denmark who basically blackmailed her into flashing her tits at him, and people then sent it to people around her area because he tracked down her Facebook because she was basically a normie in the 2000s, like internet girl that wanted to be a singer. So of course she did not take any attempt to hide her location, and he basically spread the video around to all of her friends and people at school. And at any school she moved to, they would spread it around. And it led to her suicide. And people, well, on one hand, because also the legality of it, because it was CP at the end of the day, that is, and the reason why we know about the story is because I'm talking about, because when I was a kid when this thing fucking happened. That's when they started invoking cyber safety into our school curriculum as a warning of what could happen. Now, the teachers, of course, didn't do anything about actual fucking bullying, but they didn't want to, shift the blame. But it was also a good lesson in why you don't put your face, your location online, and any traceable data of yours online as much as you can, because you end up with those type of cases. And it was a horror show. It was a horror show. It was also funny if it also happened in Canada as well, if I remember correctly. That's why it was also so big, especially for our school curriculum, because it was, I guess, nationally local to the idea of it's going to affect you or your kids. And Ghislaine, thankfully, did not kill himself at the end of the day, but it would take a case as bad as Amanda's for shit like this to be put back in a high gear of, like, you keep mockery online. Because face it, if any video you put out online, anything you put online, will be mocked, will be criticized. It is a natural form of thing. You have to take it and realize it's just words on screen, and if you're actually making art online, then you should bother to maybe take some criticism. Don't be a Chris Chan about it. Know what's criticism, know what's people trying to get a rile out of you. And just don't fucking engage with it unless it becomes malicious intent, where we deal with cases like how Kirsha got targeted by a harassment campaign. There's a difference between harassment campaigns, to people making mockery, to people criticizing. There's like 3 levels of scaling there. The thing is that, unfortunately, when it came to cyberbullying, this is when people would actually take it into real life. And then we had a brief stint of people laying off, and then it picked right back up in like 2019, 2020, where people actually dox and go to people's homes as a way to carry the shit on. But that's also because people were not terribly intelligent in how they keep themselves concealed from others.
Uploaded the video.
If they didn't dox themselves, I mean, being doxed is a horrible thing, but when people dox themselves and things end up like that, then I can't really say. It was really a nefarious act to find you, considering you post your address out there.
Seeking $250,000 in damages, stating that, and I quote, he had to endure and still endures today harassment and derision from his high school mates and the public at large, and will be under psychiatric care for an indefinite amount of time.
Oh my God.
Eventually, years later, an out-of-court settlement was reached. Though a lot of people related to him, seeing his awkward and enthusiastic dream of becoming a Jedi in themselves, the bad outweighed the good. And at one point, a local TV network from his own city had that video playing on loop.
Oh my God.
Giving away his name and hometown and basically doxing him.
You cocksuckers.
If he was committing a crime instead of doing a silly little video, the law would have actually protected him from being doxxed.
Unironically, Dankila's not even making a facetious joke or trying to make a pun at his own British Parliament, the British ruling and Scottish justice system. That has actually been a stated rule in Canada since the 90s. That when it comes to crimes committed by a juvenile, you cannot dox their name or address, which for the most part is to prevent lynch mobs if it was a heinous crime on a juvenile. However, you can still to this day dox a minor on live broadcast, network television, and it's completely fine. I shit you not.
Not limited to just his local TV stations, every news and entertainment related entity wanted a piece of the mockery pie. From Jay Leno's Tonight Show to even a Japanese TV show that offered Ghislaine a lot of money.
No shit, he even made it to the Far East.
But he refused all of them because, in his own words, they wanted to turn me into a circus act. Having your...
What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society who treats them like trash? You tell them what you get. You get what you fucking deserve. Force choke. That's, look, you were trying to get this kid to kill himself. Okay, maybe the Japanese didn't understand because lost in translation, context, and yes, it's goofy, haha, funny, but jovial little guys like him actually do pretty well in Japan if it's micro celebrities. In the West, though, they would have really riled him up.
15 minutes of fame when you've done something truly worthwhile is one thing. When you earn it for something humiliating, that's entirely different.
Exactly.
While most were just trying to use his sudden fame for their own gain.
Unfortunately, though, now is that people who purposely do or are completely ignorant and will humiliate themselves are doing it intentionally to get their fame. And unfortunately, this kid was once again too early, right place, wrong time in his era. Nowadays, he would have gone big on TikTok. Would he have actually known, considering how extreme things can get, he would have not have done. Made an indent on TikTok, actually.
There were a few cases of genuine enthusiasts. The best example being that in that very same year, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was being filmed.
Yeah.
Fans started a petition with more than 140,000 signatures to include Ghislaine in the movie.
No shit.
But unfortunately, this didn't go anywhere, and
this wasn't a Leroy Jenkins case.
Was never offered that cameo appearance.
Fuck.
In 2005, CNET listed Ghislaine in 8th place in its top 10 web fads list. G4, remember that shit show and how that got
oh
a year
god
ago, a fucking woman moment. But anyway, they gave him the #1 spot for most viral video of all time. And most notably, VH1 gave him the #2 spot for top 40 internet celebrities. Right behind Gary Brolsma, better known as the Numa guy.
No fucking shit.
Throughout the years,
I think Numa actually lived long in the Star Wars kid when I got on the internet, because like Star Wars kids' popularity, because you gotta remember the internet works in cyclical ways in terms of old meme virality and popularity, and some things go from being fresh and new to being tired and worn out to being hey, remember that early nostalgia, then goes back to dormant, then it goes evergreen again. It goes in weird cyclical cycles. I still say I was around on the internet. It was far too young to be on the internet, but I thankfully never put myself out there. I was just an observer of things, especially on early YouTube. I was there for when the Chip the Ripper's freestyle was on its second cycle. So it was popular again because the remixes were getting far more fresh and more interesting, more creative, and it really took off. And that's when I recall the interior crocodile alligator. Something Numa guy. He came back through when I came back, and so he became more evergreen because people were editing it into overlays on AMVs and shit, like just for shits and giggles. That's the cyclical nature of the internet. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down. It doesn't really. It hasn't, like, a lot of these older memes have come around, or stuff from old Vine days are going in their evergreen cycle, the first stage of the evergreen cycle. They're in the nostalgia era right now. Of remember Robo Bitch, and it's not like the quirky, really popular ones that are like the easily quotable basic bitch ones. It's the more edgier ones that are coming back in cyclical cycle because people are hungry for that, of what they really wanted, and that's just how it works. And I think we're going to see a resurgence a lot more of these things. Thankfully, Star Wars Kid didn't really get that because he was really big, and then before the evergreen cycle took off, his story came out, and people realized, oh fuck, maybe we shouldn't turn this into another meme because it's already run its course. And then we got some supplemental ones in place of him, and he slowly, thankfully, only became a footnote.
The sheer amount of exposure that this young man had to endure raised a lot of concerns over privacy issues on the internet.
Exactly.
Not only for the fact that, again, he was only 15 at the time, but he never wanted any of the infamy in the first place.
True.
You could even call it that. The video's popularity had numerous spoofs and parodies in popular media, from cartoons like American Dad, The Venture Bros, South Park.
Fucking Venture Bros did it too. Yeah, no, I forgot.
Cartoons like American Dad, The Venture
I forgot the hench guy did this. Yeah.
Bros, South Park.
Yeah, South Park, of course, have done it.
Shows like The Office and Arrested Development, the music video from Weird Al Yankovic's White and Nerdy, and an Easter egg
Fucking, I remember that too.
in the video game Tony Hawk's Underground 2.
No kidding.
Even Stephen Colbert in 2006 made a content.
Fucking Colbert. You hear he's writing that new Hobbit follow-up? I wanted to shoot myself the moment I fucking heard that.
Out of it by showing a video of himself standing in front of a green screen and mimicking Ghislaine's moves with a toy lightsaber. And viewers were then to edit the video however they wanted and send it back in to be featured on the show as part of a contest, concluding with an appearance by George Lucas himself presenting his own version of the video, amplified by his own visual effects company, Industrial Light and Magic, which, in my opinion, was a little bit of a dick move since Ghislaine was never offered that cameo in the movies. But making fun of him on Stephen Colbert.
Well, that's fine, George. George, I'm off and on in terms of his legacy. He can be a complete pompous jackass considering the first Star Wars nearly fell fucking through, but he's also, in terms of keeping marketing juggernauts alive when he was running it, yeah, he had the world in his palm from Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Writing movies, not so much. For editing details and technicals, maybe. Or more so sourcing out for his workers to have fun with. George Lucas is terrible in terms of, like, he needs somebody to tard wrangle him, to keep him ground to the ground. But he's not like a hack fraud like Neil Druckmann is. It's a weird case. And that is very much a dick move. And also on Colbert's part. Fucking Colbert is a crock of shit. He's always been a crock of shit. And especially then as a fucking crock of shit. To not even offer anything to Ghislaine as, like, compensation for using the video and turn this whole contest, because the virality going, this is like the mainstream media when mom and dad's like, oh, I don't want my son to be a nerdy kid, but I'll make fun of this one kid this 15-year-old from Quebec because who fucking cares? This is them getting in on this shit, and then parents are even worse for bullying.
Was fair game. With the help of family and lawyers, Ghislaine left for private tutoring. He returned to high school for his senior year and enrolled into law school in Montreal, where he became president of the Patrimoine Trois Rivières Heritage Society.
Atta fucking boy. Hey, Peter Parker, welcome. Welcome, Spectacular Spider-Man. How we doing tonight?
Formerly called the Society for Conservation and Promotion of Cultural Heritage, which aimed to develop the area while considering heritage concerns.
Base. fucking based. I know I shit on the Quebecois a lot. Trois-Rivières itself has a lot of significant culture to early settlement of Canada. That is a massive cultural frontier.
Though he had grown up and changed a lot and people wouldn't recognise him anymore and he could have continued on with his life with all of this unfortunate stuff behind him, he decided to come forward with his identity to highlight the kinds of bullying and negative attention children may face in similar situations, especially with the rise of social media at that time, which in turn he got even more shit for. One blogger even said that he tricked the world because he was doing fine in life now.
What, is supposed to be? He's supposed to have killed himself or thrown himself off a bridge? Maybe some players are able to get the dirt off their shoulders, that they're able to escape you for 5 fucking minutes and have a bit of peace and quiet. You ever think of that?
And I get people doing that to me all the time. Well, even though you were arrested for a joke, you're actually doing amazing on YouTube and in your career, so you're actually...
Sirius, where'd you get them? Born with them. I was born this way, playa. Eurasian lynx. If that's what you're wondering. I'm not a cat boy or a wolf boy, I'm a Eurasian lynx. Different breed.
Doing fine now, so I guess it wasn't that bad. Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. Like, kid got bullied to hell and back. Dankula got arrested for a fucking joke. Term of freedom of speech. Yeah. What the fuck is this shit? Where are you guys from? We're talking about the Star Wars kid right now. Sam Lith, how are you doing?
Just because someone managed to survive awful shit that people did to them doesn't suddenly make that awful shit okay to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Years later, in an interview that was supposed to be his final words on the matter, having experienced...
Wait a minute, did I get raided by someone? I haven't got any alert from it yet. Surprised nothing's gone fired off yet. I'm pretty sure Botrix is operating in chat. I don't know. You sound cute. Oh no. You're not one of those bots, are you?
Firsthand the damage that exposure and bullying can inflict upon a child, he supported the new Canadian cyberbullying legislation, which is cringing gay and against...
Thank you. You sound awful. I sound awful? No sweetness. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I sound awful because I'm horrifically sick right now. My nose is plugged the fuck up. And I just feel like shit. Anyways, getting back to this. Yeah, unfortunately it brought in the Canadian cyberbullying law, which is, if you know anything about any federal law passing, it's meant to take more rights. Whoa, language babies. Language babes. Oh, babe, what's... What the fuck is going on? What the hell is going on here? I was saying that it was a law, as with any other federal law, whether it be United States, actually any nation, it's meant to backdoor in more infringements on the people. And it's to bring in... Are you okay? I'm sick right now. I'm coughing. I got a sinus infection. I'm doing okay anyways. But it was meant to backdoor in federal laws to harm basically any freedom of speech or freedom of expression online. And unfortunately, put 700 on Rainbet pussy. Yeah, I know. I was playing poker. I was playing poker at the inventory before. We're just doing React videos right now. But as I was saying, is that any law like this is just fake and gay. Honestly, it's just a bunch of shite.
Free speech. However, can we all look? We all love shit roasting and memeing on each other and posting horrible shit all the time, you know, on the internet. But can we all at least sort of make an agreement? No underagers, right? Let's not
You fake and gay.
do that to kids, right? You know, we bully each other online all the time. All of you bully me online all the time, and that's completely fine. But let's not do it to literal children.
We'll gamble in a sec, okay? Just give me a couple minutes.
Children, right?
Yeah.
Not as a law, but as a social code, because social codes are actually the best way to go about things. But anyway,
Bully dumb fucks, absolutely.
Ghislaine suggested that people should ask themselves if they would say the same things they write on the internet to someone's face.
Yeah.
Many people find it very easy to tell someone to
And like I say, no, I don't actually gamble.
but would absolutely shit and piss themselves if that same person was standing right in front of them.
Precisely.
Not me though. I'm
No.
so much worse IRL.
No, IRL, like in person, drop the Don makes you a millionaire. Fuck, no. The fuck do you mean? No, I don't actually gamble. I play Poker Night of the Inventory. We were playing Poker Night of the Inventory beforehand. I don't actually gamble. Anyways, talking about IRL though, is that yeah, I'm more constrained with what I say on these streamer sites because, well, I'm playing by TOS for half the time, and Twitch is a fucking Orwellian. Twitch is a fucking Orwellian site in terms of you fucking pussy, can't believe you went for it. Oh, fuck me. As I was saying though, is that Twitch is a faggot ass site for having fun in terms of what you can say and what you can't say. But IRL, there's no filter, IRL. Get a bag and fucking gamble, you stinky dog. Yeah, whatever.
I say heinous shit.
I'm sure you're winning a lot.
I've had people come up to me and confront me in the street, and then I say something that makes like the whole group of them go, "What did you just say? I'm phoning the police." It's hilarious.
Beautiful.
It's so funny and it brings me so much joy.
Oh yeah.
And every by the way, the stuff that I say is absolutely worth a smack in the mouth. Yeah, they never do.
Mm-hmm.
Funny that.
Absolutely.
So, where is our boy now, and how is he doing?
Yeah, is he doing okay?
In 2022, the National Film Board of Canada released Star Wars Kid: The Rise of the Digital Shadows, a documentary about Ghislaine's life and how digital footprints can follow a person for years, and in his case, decades.
Correct.
In the film, Bio meets with Ghislaine and apologises for uploading the video, unaware of the repercussions it would bring to Ghislaine's life. Bio deeply regrets posting the video, but Ghislaine accepted his apology, recognising Bio's genuine kindness despite his misjudgment in the past. One thing I do think is...
Is your hand actually on your head in real life right now? Yeah, just kind of is. Just joking. What's your star sign? Is this video you?
Definitely important.
Yeah, I'm obviously the Star Wars kid. I'm an absolute god of dueling. Just joking. What's your star sign? Scorpio.
To point out though is despite the pain it brought to Ghislaine and all that type of stuff, we do all have to agree that Star Wars Kid is probably one of the most iconic videos in the history of the internet. Right? So even though Ghislaine doesn't like it and he didn't like all the pain and suffering that it brought to him, it's an important video. Right?
Yeah.
I've been watching it a lot while we've been researching this video.
It was it was probably the earliest viral videos that can be recorded and one to break mainstream boundaries as well. It was a massive video.
And it takes me back to days when the internet was a lot more fun. Right? It's just, I feel this, I don't know what it is. I feel kind of melancholy watching the video because I remember using old Steam and playing Half-Life and OG Counter-Strike and all this stuff back then, and I don't know why, right? I feel that the video is iconic in the history of the internet, and it just makes me remember better times.
Absolutely.
As for the content and juicy behind-the-scenes stuff in the documentary, I have no idea what any of it is because it is region-locked and paywalled for me, so we weren't able to watch it.
Couldn't secure a VPN ad for this video.
I could go a little bit further and dig up a lot more about what he's up to these days, but
let's just leave him at that.
I think the man's earned a little privacy, don't you? Seeing as how he never even wanted to be known in the first place. But wherever he may be and whatever he may be doing, may he navigate the stars with all of the finesse like he did in that 2002 video.
Absolutely. I mean, it was early virality, and that was the internet back then. And it's unfortunately, I do feel the same melancholy. It was a classic video. Anyway, we're going back to gambling. Since you motherfuckers can't shut up.